Ladies and gentlemen, Jessina DeMarco is about to come on and bring the heat and empower you in your wellness and truly owning your vitality and energy and greatness in life. Before we get to that, though, let's talk about the 21-day challenge, especially if you are a young man, 26 years old, around there, and you want to break through, you want accountability, you want to step into your greatness, your power, your fulfillment, your happiness. Get clarity on your long-term goals, break them down into bite-sized steps, and succeed like never before. That's the 21-day challenge. Send me a message if you're ready for that accountability. Every single day, get that clarity and build that momentum so you can truly be happy and fulfilled. Send me a message, chris@beyourgps.com. Next up is the iTunes review of the week, and this week it's by Sophia Wise One. And Sophia says, inspiration, that's the deal. Reminding me what's possible, keeping us on track, and thank you. Thanks so much, Sophia. If you're listening right now and you want to give us more feedback, how we can grow, how we can serve you better, or just to stay connected with the show, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you listen to more episodes, and also give us a review. Let us know what you want to see more of and how we can serve you better. Thanks so much in advance for doing that. Now, I'm going to bring on Jessina in just a second, but make sure you have a pen, you have a paper ready, because this woman is a powerhouse, and she has magical gifts with her hands, with her touch, with her healing, and with her energy, and being able to provide miracles with people's bodies. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's hear from what she has to say in just a minute. But first, we'll introduce her. Jessina DeMarco has been sharing her passion of holistic therapy for over 7 years. She is a certified massage therapist, Reiki practitioner, and master practitioner in NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, master success coach, and a published author. Jessina has helped thousands become and live healthier lives through her health and wellness practice. Her values are integrity, family, spirituality, and discipline. Ooh. Yeah. Her mission and purpose is to assist and facilitate individuals to become whole. Healing from the inside out, and she advocates the principle that true wholeness and well-being belongs and begins within. Oh my gosh. Jessina, are you ready to rock the house, superstar?
I'm ready, Chris.
Yes. Awesome. We're now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Thank you so much for being here and just being a superstar, rolling with the flow and the technology, getting it all to work and have a lot of fun. Definitely. I appreciate you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for staying true all the way through and just being a champion. You're amazing.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and get started with the main question for the day. And we've been asking this to all the speakers, all the guests today, and it's how to fly, aka first love yourself. Jessina, how do you first love yourself?
I definitely believe happiness begins within oneself, and I believe a part of that is to start with self-acceptance, which is including our imperfections. You know, to be perfect with our imperfections, I think is where it all begins. And when we get to know that it's okay to not be perfect, then that kind of leads down the road to being a little easier on ourselves and to be more aware of what we're doing without any condemnation or feeling guilty for any reason.
I love it. I love it. Talking about that acceptance, that grace, that love. Yes, allowing. Amen. And that's really, it's the lack of resistance, what I'm hearing. You know, I'm sure you encounter tons of resistance in people's bodies and, you know, shame and trapped energy and all kinds of stuff like that. And you've just recognized, hey, what is the secret sauce to release that stuff and get back into flow and love and alignment?
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about what your clients come to you for today, Jessina.
Now today, they actually know because I've created kind of a brand for myself as not so much as a massage therapist, but as a wellness, a healer practitioner, a wellness person that has the philosophy. My branding actually, the motto is that I believe that we heal from the inside out. Of course, it starts with massage, you know, that's relaxing, that's comfortable and everything. But what's really even more important is what's going on within that individual. And that's the approach that I take. I look at the human body as one unit, which contains all different systems and parts. So I go in and say, okay, let's find out what's really going on. We'll start with massage and, you know, see from there. And I'm very sensitive with my hands. I do have healing hands.
Yeah.
So I can tell kind of what's going on with the person without actually saying, asking them directly, but try to get them to talk to me first,
Yeah.
for different things. And most pain starts with some sort of something emotional trauma, if you will. Everything we've ever experienced is suspended somewhere in our body system, even since we're in our mother's womb, actually. Those
Wow.
far back.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of what they come for now.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I love how you are in tune with people. You start to feel what's going on with them, and you can feel deep within just the external, hey, I got a little bit of pain in my shoulder. It's like you could feel deep into that. And you also know how to like trace it back to its roots to be able to truly heal those deeply rooted and intertwined and entangled things that people are dealing with.
Right, that's correct.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's a little different for the client because like I said, I take a different approach. And if their back is hurting or, something, their shoulders, I'll ask, well, when did it start hurting? Or, what type of a pain from 1 to 10? When did it start?
Yeah.
What was going on with your life at the time it started? Because a lot of times it's emotional, it's reference pain.
Yeah.
Not saying we don't have physical issues, but most of it is reference. And then they tell me what's going on and ask, why is she asking me what's going on, with my pain? It's just, I want you to fix my neck or whatever. And it's not that simple. So at the end, they find out exactly a method to my madness, I guess.
I love it. I love it, Jessina. It's so awesome. So you're doing amazing work with your clients, and I want to go back into your journey and learn about a little bit more. How did you get started? How did you get onto this path of healing and wellness? Where did it all begin for you?
Well, it all began, when I was little. I've always been fascinated by the human body, the body systems. I'd read medical books and just a little different childhood growing up. I was in the books and everyone else was outside riding their bike, and it was just that obvious, from the beginning.
Wow.
And it was just, it started there. I've got some pop-ups. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
But from there, I kind of grew up and wanted to go into nursing. And I really was resistant to be in an environment where sick people are, which is typically hospitals or ER units and stuff. And so I said, how can I fulfill this purpose without really being around in a hospital and working double shifts and all that sort of thing? So I decided to get back into massage therapy or go into massage therapy. And that kind of came about suddenly. Unfortunately, I had a bad traumatizing experience. My husband of 10 years back in 2007 committed suicide. And so that was like really hard. And that's why I'm so much into gratitude, because it's amazing how your life can change within 24 hours.
Yeah.
And
wow.
That was like, really, really, this is my first time, I think, really ever talking about it publicly, but
Wow.
I need a drink of water. Hold on.
Yeah. I acknowledge you. I acknowledge you for taking it on and showing up in the world and sharing it, because you know that it's time that your voice expands, your message, your impact expands even more. I know, like, since we've been following each other for a long time, a number of years now, and like just recently we started talking more because it's really time for you to expand. I'm in my path of expansion, you're in your path of expansion. So it's like that like energy of expansion and growing and impacting more people attracts each other.
Yes. You're exactly right. And the people that are kind of on that same frequency, if you will, start to notice each other, and we get it, and so from that kind of like fast pacing forward, I left real estate. Of course, that was the whole reason for him doing that. Is we had a multi-million-dollar business, as a matter of fact, and within say 12 months to 18 months, it was like dissipated. It was just like the most biggest nightmare. A lot of people know what happened with the market meltdown in 2007. So he elected to take his own life. And so I had to start my life over again. And, we always have choices. And I could have taken the path of, a self-destructive lifestyle, being a victim, and not really owning up to, okay, I'm an individual and I need to know how to move forward from here.
Right.
So I went back to school for massage therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know it was going to be like this blessing in disguise. And it was actually more, and it still is, healing and therapeutic for me, uh, as well it is my clients.
Yeah.
So it was, kind of like a win-win, I guess. And so I was able to heal just talking to others and to really help them from a genuine, organic heart. And that's what, once you gain that trust, people open up and they'll tell you anything, and so I developed that trust, with my clients, and it was just kind of, flourished from there, word of mouth and all that. But that's kind of how I got into what I wanted to in the beginning in the medical field, but in a better environment, I should say. And then come to find out that I'm more of a healer than just a massage therapist.
Yeah.
I started energy healing, which is not really like mainstream nowadays, but someone suggested that I get that because I was having panic attacks, all types of issues, trauma and PTSD. Most people, I think they think PTSD is for like
Soldiers.
military people. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. When actually anyone living in the civil world from day to day can experience some degree of PTSD. If you've gone through a traumatic situation that hasn't been healed, then it could be, in that same category. So,
Yeah.
and once I started getting that, and I said, wow, this is pretty neat. And so I went and got attuned to do it myself, and after my third session, I didn't have any more panic attacks.
Wow.
I was able to sleep at night, and all that good stuff. So I incorporated that, as another part of my wellness, and just kind of revolutionized the stereotype or what people think a massage therapist is.
Yeah, yeah.
Really
I'm curious. I'm curious, Jessina. Would you recommend that anyone who has a curiosity about spirituality and their body and energy explore energy healing as a way to understand those systems and modalities more, or is it only for people who want to heal others and want to build a business or a skill of that? What do you think?
I think every human being should be involved in natural healing and getting their body systems in balance. It's not a lot of, like I said, mainstream education out there in regards to it. So we kind of have our own stigma or idea of what it is. And depending on our upbringing and our religious, some of us grew up in a religious environment, and that it could be, non-embracing. So there's a lot of factors that play into it.
Yeah.
But once a person opens up and say, I have to own up for my own spiritual life, kind of like the old saying, the old adage, I came here by myself and I'm got to leave by myself. So it is my ultimate, my alpha and omega. While I'm here, I get to interact with others. But in the beginning and the end, that's our own human life experience is what we're responsible for.
Wow, so powerful. And what difference do you think that investing our time and energy into understanding the energy systems, Reiki healing, and healing ourselves from the inside out, like what difference do you think that would make in our lives, and how would we show up differently in the world?
Oh, that it would be dramatically different, I believe, because when we're feeling good and our body systems are in order, usually grudges, unforgiveness, a lot of hate, all of those emotions are trapped in our bodies, which it shows up in the three-dimensional, as sickness and disease. Number one is cancer. But over half or 50% of the sicknesses that people experience is a result of some sort of open wounds, either from when they were 10 or it could have been, 10 years ago. It doesn't matter. But if we can free ourselves from that, we could show up in the world better, no doubt. And with that, on a global level, I mean, if the energy was up, it would just be phenomenal. If everyone felt, at their best most of the time, we wouldn't have as much hate and prejudice. And wow, that's the scarcity, people feeling like, if you have more, that's taken something away from me, and not living in abundance, and there's more than enough for everyone. But all that would just kind of not dissipate, but it would just be, I couldn't imagine the world that we could live in if people really embraced it, or at least find out about it. You can be a practitioner or just for your own health and well-being. I
Mm.
think it's a good idea for everyone to do it.
Man, I love it. I love it, Jessina. So where do we really begin to get that foundation in place of wellness from the inside out? How do we practically take that on?
I would say reading. If a person isn't really comfortable going to speak with someone or trusting about it, just read up on it and see exactly what it involves, and
Mm.
see what resonates with you, what doesn't, and just kind of have an open mind about it. And
Mm.
I think from there forward, you would attract the right people that are trusting, whatever we focus on, we bring about that reality.
Mm.
So eventually, if we're really serious and genuine about it, those doors will open for the right people to come to you, or you'll recognize it because it's a part of your conscious awareness at that point.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I think
So
it starts there with reading, and there's so much stuff on the internet, and just kind of educate yourself and be open and not so hard. This is, I believe this and I'm not going to change, and that sort of thing.
mm.
That's not healthy for anyone, but
Mm.
we do run into that, unfortunately.
Yeah. So is there any specific material that you studied that you would recommend as a kind of a foundation, or is there any way you could teach us some of those principles or philosophies that we really need to understand to shift our paradigm, educate ourselves to make better choices and decisions to show up better in the world?
Yeah, I believe so. And there is information basic at the libraries or the bookstores about basic energy and how, well, it's probably progressing way too far, but metaphysically, this world is just, this planet is a big ball of energy,
Yeah.
and most people don't understand, may not understand that. And I totally get it, because I didn't understand it either.
Hmm.
And I came up in a very strict religious background, which I love, and it kept accountability and stuff in our family, and it was just beautiful. But when I was 18, I kind of went off and started exploring my own spirituality. But I think it starts with education,
Hmm.
and anything that you can read and open yourself up to, but and just kind of compare to this planet. If we can just, not being woo woo or whatever, but just kind of see how everything conjoins,
Yeah.
spirituality, the physical world, and you can't separate the two,
Hmm.
and that's a big argument or debate as of yet. But yeah, it's the two coming together. So just to really understand who we are and why are we here, those questions that no one ever wants to really talk about,
Yeah.
really would open up if we just got more curious about it. There's a ton of material out there, even on a basic level, that we can read and start up on, that not to where we can just, the average person could comprehend it in layman's terms.
Mm. Mm. I love it. I love it. So, in terms of like being our greatest possible selves, it's important that we study these areas that we want to develop in. And you're recommending to like just look around. There's plenty of information out there on spirituality, on understanding how the 3D world connects with the spiritual world and energetics of it, the vibration, the frequency, all that good stuff. And if we were to have a next step, so to speak, of growing ourselves in our wellness and in our health, in our energetic bodies and energetic mastery, what would you recommend that be? Is there anything specifically
Oh,
you'd recommend around nature or any other practices?
definitely. Yoga is number one. And
Mm.
that's more of a word that's in, household name. People kind of know what it is, and it's more prevalent now than it's ever been. It was
Yeah.
kind of like a taboo, 20
Mm.
years ago. And and it had different types of things related to it, like, you're righteous, and you're taking dominion over your own flesh, and all
Mm.
kinds of different things that we're taught, that just isn't true. But now we're embracing yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong.
Yeah.
There's all types of different, martial arts, and that really works with energy. People don't really realize that, but that's what you're doing, is actually working to do clearance within yourself. It's not
Mm.
to worship yourself or whatever people's ideations are of it, but that would be a great start. And now they even have yoga in, the regular fitness gyms. You don't have to
Yeah.
go to a studio and feel like, that's kind of weird or whatever.
Mm.
They're incorporating it into like the 24-hour fitness and
Yep.
LA fitness. And so I think that's a good thing to do. If you don't
Mm.
have a membership, They have incentives at the different yoga studios, but if you do, more than likely they have maybe one class a week or two.
Mm.
A beginner's course in yoga, I think, would be a first step.
Yeah, I highly recommend that. I know I started doing yoga, I want to say, man, probably 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago in my hometown of Chino. I know you're in Southern California as well. So I grew up there, and I was going to 24-hour fitness to do yoga. And I would go, 2-3 times a week just to like get proficient at it. And I sucked at first, I was not flexible. It was really difficult for me. I was super self-conscious. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm the guy who's going to yoga, oh gosh, what are people going to think? And then after a while, I was like, man, I own this. This is making me feel amazing. It's making me, show up with flexibility and versatility in life, with more peace, with more patience, more groundedness, more centeredness. So it just like really brought so much goodness to my life. And that actually, I did yoga because I was like, oh, well, yoga sounds like something that's really popular. And that expanded my flexibility in life to try even more new things. So I started eating different foods and healthier foods. And then I started going to Zumba class and doing like dancing, which I never would have done before, like Latin dancing and hip hop dancing.
Like guys don't do that, right?
Right? Oh my gosh, it was so scary walking in there.
Right, and that's even part of it. Like you just expressed, one thing leads to the other, which leads to the other. But you have to start somewhere, and then you're open to this or that, and then it bleeds down into other areas of our lives, like our business, our relationships, everything. If we learned how to breathe and how to be patient and how to think thoroughly and not make rash emotional decisions, I mean, it just those principles that we develop are life principles, not just over here or over there, but it encompasses our whole life lifestyle.
Yeah, I love it. And then you mentioned martial arts too. I just recently I went through a phase of, pretty recently, like I want to get tougher, right? I want to toughen my body up. I don't know if you've heard of David Goggins. He's like this military Navy SEAL guy, and yes,
it's like, whoa, yeah.
He's hardcore.
Hardcore, and the whole, I think, ironic in that whole discipline with the martial arts is that it's to promote peace. And to put that together, it's like, whoa. But if you really think about it, the way that it's structured, it's just flowing. It's flowing with nature. You're not going against something. There's no resistance. With fighting, you go, straight for that person or whatever. But if someone's coming after you with their fist or whatever, you just learn how to roll around it.
Yep.
And then, and it's like, and that's how life is. It's a great, universal example of how we should live life.
Yeah. So I was mentioning, like, I wanted to get tougher, right? Like I felt like, okay, there's an aspect of me that wants to be peaceful and wants to like sit and be centered and release all the chatter and all that good stuff. So that's one side of the pendulum, so to speak. And then in a moment's notice, I want the power, the ability, the capacity to go to the complete opposite and go into like warrior. And to do that, there's a certain level of conditioning that I get to be, that I get to challenge myself to stretch in that capacity, to stretch in the warrior, to stretch in that masculine energy. And I found like one of the ways I just started was like punching a punching bag, just like to get my frustration out and like, punch hard. And then I was like, okay, well, this is cool, but I want something that's a little bit more intellectual. I'm learning, I'm growing in a philosophy. So I started doing karate kempo, and I just started that like 2 weeks ago to just start growing myself, and try new things and learn new modalities and ways of thinking. So it's just funny how everything evolves, and I'm sure like the next thing, who knows what that'll be.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, all part is one and the same, just different aspects, but you do need that mental, that toughness side of it too. Like doing, class 5 rafting or something totally ridiculous. And I've thought about it, I've done like, I think the third, I haven't done 5, but we almost capsized, and everything. But that's another aspect, I think, that our human desire wants too, is to really have that. Or even like golf, believe it or not. And I play golf, and it seems like a real quiet, nice sport, but it's you against yourself. You can't blame anyone that didn't catch the ball or didn't do this or do that. it's all about you against yourself, which makes it beautiful.
Wow. So powerful. I love it. I love it. What else is inspiring you lately, Jessina? I feel like this is just like a have fun and see what we discover conversation.
Oh gosh, just going back to what you're saying, I think life is just, if we look at it, it's like, wow, it's like a playground.
Yeah.
And it really is. If we look at it from that perspective, and what can I do? What can I learn next? And then we start gaining confidence, and you're helping people. You're getting the spiritual fulfillment of making a mark on society or this world, however you want to look at it. You're not just paying bills and feeling like you're not contributing to humanity, which unfortunately a lot of people feel that way. And they're stuck, if I can use that word, which is an energy block, and not getting any fulfillment from it, which is our service. That's our number one call, is to serve others, and naturally it'll come back around. But yeah, I'm just open up to different things, and doors are opening up for a lot more, and it starts with one thing and it goes to the next. But I just see life differently, from a different perspective. I can't even think. I just loving it, and I've been through a lot, so I can sit here or stand here, whatever, and just really feel proud, of what I did. I made that whole situation, kind of turned lemons into lemonade. I wrote a book, a positive, self-affirming book for people, and I gave back. I used that energy that I could have went within in a destructive manner, and I turned it back around to bless people instead.
How did you transmute that? What did you have to shift in yourself to be able to catalyze the pain and hardship into joy and gratitude and love?
My own counseling. I went through some spiritual counseling for like the first 2 years, and just learning how to really overcome. I think the biggest thing with suicide victims, and I'm going to put together a support group, as a matter of fact, that I'm working on right now, and some foundations and stuff. I've got a ton of stuff rolling through my head, but definitely for that, because it is like a taboo. No one wants to talk about it, but kind of like the idea behind it is that someone in the family provoked them to do it, and and people look down on the family if someone decides to take their life, because no one really knows how to even handle it, how to even make that tangible. And what I found out, just to kind of allude on your question, is that the different types of suicide, it's a mental disorder. It has nothing to do with anyone, a spouse, your child, your job, nothing. And what I was learning is a lot of people, over 50% of people who do it, have been entertaining those thoughts since they were an adolescent. Like 8, 9, 10 years old. It's not if I do it, but when. And whoever's in their life at that particular time, of course, they've got to take the rap for it, because we need someone to blame, right? So yeah, I had to go through all that, and I'm like, wow, I really want to get this word out, and just, because I'm not the only one going through it, and I was meeting other families that, husband or maybe their child hung himself, or, just really some awful things, and it could destroy a family. And statistically, not going through into a bunch of numbers, but if someone does it within the next 10 years, another member in the family will try to attempt the same thing. 50% chance.
Wow.
Once that energy is introduced to the family.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, so it's a big deal. No one talks about it, but when it does happen, usually the family's to blame, and they're not responsible. It's their own election to do that, whoever decides to.
Yeah. And it's my I was talking to Petya right before this, and she was saying how her what was it, her uncle suicided, and she said, like, she didn't like blame him, or it wasn't like his fault, or there wasn't anything wrong with him, so to speak. It was just like, it was his time to go. It was his energy was ready to transition into the next phase.
I'm just not ready, and I can respect that too. If someone thinks, well, they have the right to do that. Well, maybe, I don't know. I can't answer that, because I've never been in that mental state.
Right.
if that's right or wrong or indifferent or how to even label that. But I did hear her say that, and we do have advocates out there for suicide and assisted murder as well.
Wow.
People who will pay someone to kill them. Dr. Kevorkian, I think that was back in the 90s or whatever, and he was over medicating patients at will, at their will. And so that's kind of like, I don't know what the laws are in terms of, if that's considered a crime or what, but you do have people that think that life is something that we withhold and we have the right to take our own.
Yeah.
So I don't opinion on that.
Yeah, it's definitely a touchy subject. I think that we're put here for a purpose. I think we can all agree that we're put here for a purpose, and I think that those people who do something like that, in my opinion, I'll be opinionated about it. I don't mind. It's in my opinion, I just don't think that they're connected to the purpose that's bigger than them to like serve someone outside of them. Because if they were, then it wouldn't be about poor me, victim. Like oftentimes those people are I think they're focused on how much everything sucks and how much they hurt, and it's real, for them it's fucking real. Pardon my French, but like they are suffering, but it's what you focus on.
I can't do this because it's a part of not having any external spiritual
foundation
higher than ourselves.
Yeah.
Because no one, I don't care how strong or powerful you are, no one can live in this world on the strength of their own. I just don't understand it. That's a death sentence right there.
Yeah. I resonate with that because at a time in my life, probably about, 8 years ago or so, I was really just trying to rebel against my parents and like, I don't want to have anything to do with them. Leave me alone. I don't owe you anything. And it was just like cut off love. Cut off love. I don't need none of that, right? I'm going to be a mechanistic person who's just going out there operating, collecting my paycheck, going to school, get a good job, live the rest of my life, and do what I want when I want. And it was at that time I also had declared that I was an atheist, right? And I'm like, I don't believe in God. Like I don't need my parents. I don't need God. I don't need no one. It's like,
and you go through and talk about it, and you shut down, and then you become isolated, and one thought leads to another, and all of a sudden you're just way out in left field, without a bat or a ball, and no one knows what to do, how to bring you back, because you've totally disengaged, and given up pretty much.
Yeah, and it's I'm so blessed that I came back, and like what do we do for those people who don't? I don't know how I came back. I don't know what turned around. Probably like I hit rock bottom and I had enough sense in me to say, wait a second, I still got so much potential in life ahead of me. Chris, what are you doing? Turn it around. And then I turned it around. But I'm not sure that everyone has that level of clarity and awareness,
That foundation, and you got that from somewhere. Maybe not sure yet, but some people, they have nothing to fall back on, in terms of life principles. And that makes it difficult when you're at that rock bottom and you don't know how to get up because you haven't had anything else instilled in you, even as a child.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people take that rock bottom and they blame and create anger and fury and rage onto someone or something else or the system, and they harbor that and shame and whatever else comes with that, and then they go out and they do it again because they're like even more furious, and the cycle perpetuates.
Like I'm a victim, and it's not my fault that I'm acting this way, so I'm just gonna act out and do whatever I want to do because it's not my fault anyway. And carry around that mental belief, and then just kind of like spiral effect, and everyone around that person suffers as well.
Wow.
So I do believe that in order for us to, even as a universe or humanity, is to really make sure that we're at our best, and whole and the healing and wholeness. And I'm glad you used that as a little topic here because it's true. It starts from the inside out, and
it does.
Like wellness and well-being. I've had people ask me, what's the difference between wellness and well-being? Well, wellness is, okay, you're exercising, you're doing all the right things, eating, watching your sugar intake and salt and all that kind of stuff. But well-being is a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's a completely different aspect of it. Like you see athletes, they're great physiques, and people look at them as like the icon of
Healthy.
perfection. Yeah, exactly. And they would, unfortunately, you hear stories all the time. They'll go out to their Bentley or whatever and blow their brains out. So is that person well? No. They got the body, the physical down, but that does not make a person well.
Yeah.
That doesn't play into wellness. That's just physical.
Yeah. And also when I think of well-being, it's like contentment, it's satisfaction, it's joy, it's happiness, it's peace. And if people don't have that wellness, it's almost like a mental health, right? When I hear wellness, I hear of like mental health, well-being.
It's kind of like, not focusing on what you have, but what you don't have, which is the lack of gratitude.
Yeah.
And if we stay in that space and always focus on what we don't have, we can't appreciate what we do. And which takes us back to, I deserve more, and, everything that comes with that.
Yeah. So you mentioned you wrote a book. Tell us a little bit more about that and what went into that process.
Yeah, well, I got into a lot of the good natural teachings when I'm dealing with energy and different things after that incident. And so I was going to compose a book, first an autobiography, which is next this year. At the time, it just wasn't the right time because I was still hurting. I still had open wounds and all kinds of different things going on. So I just wrote a book, like a to-do book, a very simple, basic, not so much to read, but to do. And it's a success guide. The word accountability doesn't sit right with a lot of people, but it is an accountability book on a daily basis. Yeah, there's like a quote of the week, and then every day, Monday through Sunday, then you give, okay, what does this quote mean for me today? Every day is a new day, and we read something. We never read the same thing twice and get the same message. So what is this telling me today? And then tomorrow, and then just write it down. And I think that's a way to really connect with yourself, kind of like in a kind of put your water in your tip of your toe in the pool or the water, and really be able to write feelings down, because a lot of people, and I know this on a daily basis, they don't know how to express themselves. They don't know what they want. You ask them, well, what do you want? And anything, they'll tell you what they don't want.
Yep.
Just a little different. It's like, well, they really don't know. They're searching for happiness and trying this and trying that. And, but this kind of gives a person, and it's personal, like a little diary book or whatever you want to call it. So kind of like an easy way to get introduced to this lifestyle of being aware, of consciously aware of who we are and our thoughts, and how to turn a thought off if it's non-serving, and not let the chatter, they call it the drunken monkey, be our ears, and that once that takes over, and the irony in that is we're never part of the conversation, which makes it even more weird. And so it's hard to stop that noise, all the negative stuff. And so once we really start engaging ourselves, then we'll notice when stuff comes up and it's like, no, I don't like that. And then we develop a zero tolerance for it, because we're not going to put up with that. Once we start developing our own values, a new set of values and belief systems.
Yeah. I'm curious. What do you feel is the difference between like the drunken monkey, the monkey mind, the like machine, the automatic chatter, and like inspired thinking or conscious thoughts? What would you say? How do you know the difference between those, and how can we move more towards conscious, aware, present thinking?
I think with that, getting in touch with ourselves again, we'll start to we'll know more about ourselves and what we believe. And if something comes to us that contradicts that, then we'll know, okay, no, I don't want to accept that. And then as we kind of grow into this developmental, it never ends, it's infinite. Then anything that, like what you think is valuable could be not valuable to someone else or whatever. And what, you let people get away with, someone says, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to tolerate that. But all that comes from the inner work. If we don't do inner work, and that, that spiritual muscle, like we have physical bodies, and taking control. We have to have spiritual strength as well. And all that is like a byproduct of what's going on in the inside. And the more inner work we do, the more clear things become as to what we want, what we don't want, what we'll tolerate, what we don't want to tolerate, who we want to be in our circle or sphere, and not placing judgment, but who we don't want, in our to be around based on whatever reasons we come up with. But all that it's virtually impossible without doing the inner work. And that's all individual. Like there's not like a blanket way to do that, one size fits all. It just depends on the individual, and the only way we can know that is to really surrender and learn who we are and accept it. Write down. I just I ask people, and I'm kind of like led by spirit, and I want to get into that, and whatever, because I'm like, okay, I'm just a conduit. I'm not trying to, say that I'm God or whatever, but if spirit brings something up, then I'm going to share it. But have people just write down 10 things that you like about yourself. And then, and another sheet, list 10 things that you'd like to improve if you could, on any level. It could be a relationship, spiritual, physical, emotional, whatever. And then the second thing I do, and I do this with some of my clients, is if it's too painful, I'll ask, to do 5, but normally it's 10, to write 5 things down that happened to you over your life that you wish never happened to you, and what type of an effect did it have on you. Wow. And no one can read it but you, but just so you can write it down, you get it out of your head, that neurological, from the brain to on paper, that takes on a different dynamic when we write it down. And then just read it every day. Read those 5 things. Not that we want to keep revisiting negative things, but really become present with it and not avoid it or run away from it. Wow. That's kind of like an introductory thing. Just list 5 things you like about yourself. List 5 things that happened to you. It could be whatever. People talked about me because of whatever, or I didn't feel accepted. I didn't feel worthy. And then once you write it down, it's like, wow, just that in and of itself could be a week's exercise. On a therapeutic level. That's real heavy stuff that people avoid.
Yeah, and especially, it's funny because like when you said that, I was like, well, my initial thought is 5 things I wish never happened to me. Well, you know what, Jessina, I don't regret nothing, so I'm not going to find any answers for this.
And we know that's not true. But exactly, because they're like, subconsciously they're like, I'm not going there.
Right.
Want to think about that. I'm not going to write that down. Because then I have to look at it and deal with it. Wow. And who wants to do that? But when we start making up stories and I don't need to, that's defense or right there. So that's telling you right offhand that you're not aligned with what's going on in your body and in what's going on in your life, because you're not ready to confront it yet. And that takes courage.
Wow. It's powerful. So fascinating. But I know, like, for me, especially, like, personally, my defense mechanisms in my brain are like so powerful. Right? Like the more powerful creators we are, and like human beings, also on the flip side, the more powerful we become at the stories that we tell ourselves that keep ourselves small, because they have to be so freaking powerful, constricting, restraining stories. And this is, I could be perpetuating this. So if I am, I release this belief. And from what I've understood, it's, like that, the stronger that we are, also the stronger that the opposing forces that we have to make up about ourselves.
Kind of like, that old adage, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Yeah.
It's like if you're on that level 10, then you're going to get resistance at a 10.
Yeah.
Like, boom. It's like, okay, game on.
Yeah.
We don't want to live like that, but you're right. Whatever you were in the beginning, it's going to be that same level 5, level 7, level 10. It doesn't matter. It's going to be amped up to the same thing. Yeah. Like I said, if you're strong-willed and, and then fighting, resisting everything, so unless you change that, it's going to stay the same. Yeah.
So powerful. So powerful. What would you say is your big focus and vision and what you're out to create this year?
Oh gosh, I'm giving away my goodies, huh? Oh gosh, I've got so many things. My autobiography for one, and I was going to
Ooh.
start it last year, and then I said, well, it wasn't quite time, and things happen in its right season. And if uh, create something out of season, there could be an issue.
Yep.
So I waited, and I think 2019 is definitely the year for my autobiography.
Okay.
I have plans to open a yoga studio, or it's more like a spiritual center. Yeah, and just something where people can go and no questions asked. No one's going to ask, why are you there? If they just want to sit and meditate or read or pray or whatever, just a nice zenful, I call it, like this. And I have the picture so clear in my head. It's like, oh my God, driving me crazy, but just to be able to, and I know real estate is still kind of shaky, soft right now. So I don't know where the market's going to go with that, to actually purchase a facility, a small, and then, to have a peaceful place where people, non-religious, non-denominational, just as a human being, can go and be present with themselves. So that's that's been really big on my calendar. Yeah, and then I want to develop a foundation for my dad. Most people know he passed away, and he was my hero. He still is. He wasn't. He is, and he's with me all the time, and and he's happy. But still, he's not here. So, but I just want to give back and to really, he was into health and nutrition and all the good stuff, organic. We had a garden, and everything, made our vegetables and fruits and stuff. So that really helped instill in me the importance of what we intake, as well, and the way we eat and take care of ourselves. But yeah, so I want to do something in that arena. I'm not really sure what yet, but develop a foundation for that. Um, oh gosh. Well, I just got on with a publishing company, that went public, with Arata Publishing. Yeah, and I'm just so honored. Oh my gosh, that I get to be a part of that. And she's like, oh my God, one of my spiritual mothers, if I can say that, because she's helped me through a lot, and on her phone calls and just following her. And she's just the most beautiful lady, and from the inside out. And her mother as well, Maya, the Shama, I don't know if you know Maya, but that's her mom. And she does a lot of Lumerian healing and stuff, which is like really like over the top. And so that released a lot, and helping, my codes and DNA codes and all that. And, I'm real open to that because I know it's real. And
heck yeah. Bring it on. Bring it on. Bring on the transformation.
Exactly. And when you get in that environment, you're like, wow, and yeah. So I'm going to do that. And, see, I'm going to be a part of that publishing company and get really, what we're doing is creating a space for people who are awakening. I know that's kind of like the word out there right now.
I love it.
Oh, what are you talking? Me too. I said, I'm awakening.
Yep.
It is 2019 is just the year. People are like, what's going on? We have all this stuff, the government, the this, the that, and it's just, really, I think as humanity in and of itself, it's just like people want to know, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? What's this world and energy and all this stuff? I think more interest now than ever before in the history of humanity on this planet, and all the global warming and all this stuff. There's more attention now on that. And getting back to my initial point is the awakening process, of really coming into the realization and the belief that we can create our own life. There's people that's being set free from that. I can have my own business. I can do this. I can do that. I don't have to, no disrespect, but I don't have to go get a job and put that on my family that I may not go in tomorrow and all that kind of stuff. Just that real empowerment, that energy, that vibration is out there right now.
Totally.
It's global. And you see it more and more, all the money, that's circulating around, yoga and Tai Chi and all the different martial. People are hungry for the truth.
Yeah.
And that's not to knock anyone, and I'm not trying to create a platform, for anything, but there are more people in the world now that's like, you know what, I'm done. We've heard this person say this and this person say that, and it's just the day old bread and the spoiled milk, and we're sipping on spoiled milk. That's why we don't feel good, And so it's just like, we want, and the new millennials, this is all coming up. They're not buying it, they're not. We've got a generation right now of youngsters, 18, I think it's 18 to 27 or something, 25 or whatever. They're not buying it. They're not taking stuff from the government and all this stuff that we're trying to be conditioned to believe, and like our third eye, the fluoride or whatever, to keep us robotic. All about that. But yeah, it's just like, they're changing the dynamic of what's going on here on this planet. And so that's going to be something very, very interesting coming up this year. And I've heard prophecies about it, but it started a long time ago. I mean, it's in other countries already. Kind of like this new generation of enlightened kids. They saw their parents go through the whole real estate meltdown, walked away from their house. They saw all that happen, so they're scared to buy real estate. That's why all the apartment homes are going up, and the resale market and real estate is suffering right now, because the millennials, they're not going to commit to a $700,000 note and not know if they'll ever see it again. And that's how their parents walk away and stuff. There's just a lot that's going to be defined. And I'm not trying to be a prophet or anything like that, but a lot that's going on an energetic level and on the planet right now.
Yeah. I love this. I love this conversation, Jessina, and you're a superstar. And I've heard a couple times in this interview, like, I'm not trying to be something. Like, listen, I just want you to own who you are and just like stand in your power, stand in the ability to share a message, to share and create platforms and move people's souls, and move movements, create movements. Like, that's who you are. That's what you're here to do. You're a freaking powerhouse. Okay. Own it, utilize it, and know your good intentions. You have great intentions behind you, okay? And a beautiful heart, beautiful soul, tons of love. So it's perfect timing. The world needs it. They need you, okay?
Yes, thank you, Chris. That was a good tip. And I know that because I always preface it by saying, and I've got to stop doing that and just say, look, this is how I feel, point blank. There's no semicolon or comma.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Awesome. So how can our audience who's loving this conversation, they're inspired, they want to grow in their wellness, they want to grow on their journey with you, how do they stay connected with you, and what do they do next?
Okay, well, I think if someone's really interested, set an appointment. I'm doing a little coaching. I am certified coach to do wellness coaching. And if you don't want a physical or a treatment, body treatment, or maybe you're not ready for that yet, if you just want a 30-minute appointment to come speak, and I am licensed, so anything that anyone I hear, it's confidential, and I don't tell anyone's business or anything. Like, I've been doing this for years, so they can feel confident that they can come and say, hey, Jessina, I've got this going on, and I know, you have credibility and stuff, and I don't judge anything. I'd rather that. But I do like 15 to 30-minute consultations. It could be on the phone or in person. And I've got a new facility in Corona.
Ooh.
I know.
Yeah.
Super excited about it. Yeah, but just get in touch, and people don't know who they can trust and stuff nowadays. So I think it starts there, and then from there we can see exactly. Everything's custom. I can't say, okay, we're going to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z.
Right.
Because one size doesn't fit all,
Right.
And depending on what that person needs, I can kind of handle them. And I have a resource database full of, and I think that really I know it adds value to what I'm doing, but whatever they need, if it's a marriage counselor or something with their children or something's going on. I have chiropractors, physical therapists, occupational. I have and I know these people. They're not just, I didn't pull the phone number off of Google, and then
Right.
in the area, like, okay, here's my resource base. No, these people,
Vetted. You vetted them.
and find out what they need. And we're all human. You can't judge there's nothing as a wrong answer or a wrong question. It just depends on our perspectives.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that would be my initial thing, for people to know that I'm trustworthy, and they're more than welcome to call me and see how I can help them, assist them on their journey, whatever that may look like.
Beautiful. So one more time, remind us how they can call you, how they can message you, how they can find you.
Okay, I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
As everyone probably knows on this call, obviously. But Instagram, I do have Instagram, and it's just my name, and I'll pop up. My website is ayummyyes.com, and there's no upper or lower case, and you can actually order my book on that, and also on Amazon. My book is on Amazon, and if order it and everything. And let's see, my phone number, it's on all my social media, but it's 951-543-3702. And yeah, with all those, you'll get me one way or the other.
Boom. Whatever route that they want to come in, whatever is the most comfortable, aligned way, they will be able to reach you and connect with you and receive amazing, beautiful benefits and gifts from you in their lives. So Jessina, thank you so much for being here and sharing your gifts and your wisdom, your light, your love, and for just showing up in the world. I'm super proud of you. I'm so excited for all that you're creating and the movements that you are making in these amazing different areas. I think it's how versatile, how eclectic your life is, and bringing it all together to impact humanity in a big way. Really, really acknowledge you.
Thank you so much, Chris. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely.
You're welcome, Jessina.
Any other way.
That's right. That's right. Awesome. Well, hey, have the best day ever. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you soon, okay?
Okay, sounds wonderful.